acoustics are nice in here. So I got playing too fast there. Hello. I'm out of breath too. I'm just starting my day. I got my oven going. The flame's a little bit too high. Just probably turn it down a bit. Yeah, my oven's a little bit hot. That should be better. I should get my boards ready. Unfortunately, that's all the time I have for music. I gotta start baking here. That board is no good. I should say it's not as good as this one. And I'll play one more song. I should have time. The bagels haven't even come to the surface yet, so. I'm a baker. I'm a bagel chef. Very dope. Some sesame seeds. Real authentic sesame seeds. Nice. Oh, nice. What culinary school are you going to? I live in Vancouver. There's several culinary schools here. What are they called? There's like the Pacific Coast School or something. I don't know. Pacific Coast Culinary School. I'm not sure if that's the right name. What's the other one? Oh, we have the Vancouver Community College. Oh, nice. Oh, that's nice. I had an old friend who went to Humber College for music. That's in Ontario somewhere, right? Toronto area, I presume. Not sure. You should move out to the West Coast after you graduate and open a bagel shop. You just have to tolerate the high cost of living out here. I'm sure it's not much different in Toronto. If that's where you are. Oh yeah, nice, Toronto. I just recently visited Montreal and had the authentic Montreal style bagel experience at Saint Viator. In the motherland of Montreal bagels. Or I should say Ukrainian style bagels. These bagels are actually Ukrainian in origin, I believe. I don't know the exact history of Montreal style bagels. I know an approximate history, I guess you might say. We got first batch in the oven. Oh yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed my time in Montreal. I think I prefer the climate out here though. There's a bagel shop in Toronto called I think they're called Primrose Bagels, and they look like they're doing a pretty good job. I need my next destination is either Toronto or Montreal. I think probably Toronto because it's a little bit easier to get to. Yeah, I might come and visit Toronto for a week later this year. Do a little bagel tour of the city. I'll try out Saint Urbain and Primrose. Nice. Yeah, sir. Yeah, I just recently started following them on Instagram. I noticed the biggest difference between our bagels and the bagels in Montreal were that our bagels are a little bit smaller. And I think it's partly because we use a machine to roll our bagels. I think that might be, and I saw that most places were hand rolling their bagels, which seems very time consuming when you could just get a machine to do it. Well, then you could probably make the argument that a machine could do what I'm doing right now, though, if somebody had the. So I guess I shouldn't be advocating for more automation, because I might lose my job. We'll get Boston Robotics or whatever they're called, Boston Dynamics. They'll come in and make a bagel robot 3000. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I don't know if cooks and bakers and all those kind of people, I don't know, our days might be numbered. I don't know. Or it could mean, automation could mean that more people have time to open bakeries. So maybe it means that there'll be more bakers and cooks, because they won't be working in factories. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to see a bagel robot make bagels, though. Even though it'd probably steal my job, I'd still love to see it. Well, I'll start my own company, Bagel Dynamics. I'll design bagel robots. So all they do is bake bagels. I'm sure there's a $1 billion market out there for that. No, I'm just a long-time employee. I've been working for the company since almost the day it opened. The company started in 2013, and I started in 2014. And I've been in the same position ever since. So. We're feeling the effect of the coronavirus, I think. We've had a few slow, like the last couple of weeks have been pretty slow. Slower than they normally are. And yeah, I don't know, things seem a little bit precarious over here. might be on EI in a couple weeks. The way things are going. I shouldn't be that pessimistic. Bagels. Bagels are a bacon. I guess this job is sort of in between and being a chef and a cook, or a chef and a baker, in a way. I mean, it's a pretty simple process. Once you've mastered it, it's not like I'm not like a Michelin chef or anything. Like, I don't need to know a lot to do this job, but it does take a little while to master, though. But yeah, it's sort of like I'm cooking the bagels and then I'm baking them, so it's like a pasta chef. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, the service industry is probably one of the first things to break down. Like, or it's one of the things that gets a lot of, you know, disruption when it comes to these kind of events. Health services and service industry, I guess, would be. Well, then transportation is affected pretty dramatically too. Vancouver is a big transportation hub, so I'm sure that's going to, like, just the impact on transportation is having an impact here in Vancouver, imagine. We also have a lot of people from Hong Kong and mainland China that have settled here on a permanent or temporary basis. I don't know. These are the Shivas that I use to move the bagels around. They're called Shivas. They're made of mahogany wood. Or maybe, I'm not sure about, actually I'm not sure if the Shivas are mahogany. These boards are, though. I've been told that the Shivas are mahogany, but I've also been, other people have doubted that, so not exactly sure. This is the, so I have a batch of bagels in there right now. Just cooking them up. I think I need to increase my flameage. Yeah, we boiled them first. So this batch right here is boiling. That batch, I already boiled that batch, put them on the table. And then so it goes pot, table, and then onto the boards, and then into the oven, and then I let them dry out on the boards, and then they sort of get shiny and smooth. And I flip them onto the deck of the oven, And then I put them into the center of the oven to let them brown on one side, and then I flip them over and I let them brown on the other side, and then I take the bagels out, and then they're done. And I'm putting the bagels, I'm dressing the bagels with seeds, and I want to do this quickly because you want the bagels to be wet. And there's a little bit of honey in we put a little bit of honey in the water, and that helps the seeds stick to the bagels. If you let the bagels sit too long on the table, the water evaporates off, and the seeds won't stick. So I have to do this fairly quickly. There we go. We've got our second batch of sesame seeds dressed and on the boards. Now I'm just sort of like gently reshaping them. I don't want to shape them too much because I don't want the hole to be too wide. But then I'm just making them a little bit more uniform, and I'm making sure the joint where the joint is connected. I make sure it's connected well. And you want to have the oven hot so that the bagels, the heat from the deck of the oven, that's what makes the bagels sort of proof. But you need to have the flame up high, fairly high, so that they brown. If you have your flame too low, they don't brown fast enough. I'm streaming from a location that won't exist in a few months. This location is going to be shut down in June because they're demolishing this building to build a SkyTrain, like a SkyTrain terminal. They're building like a SkyTrain expansion, and this is going to be where one of the what do you call it? Destination platform. What do you call it? Train station. This is going to be a train station in a few months. Or, well, probably not a few months. But probably about a year. In about a year, this whole area will be completely different. It's sort of sad because this is one of our most popular locations. I'm a little disappointed that we're closing, but I guess that's how things go. The ever-changing urban landscape. Excuse me, sorry. I probably caused some yawns there. If anybody's actually watching me. We're gonna do some everything next. I need to try to keep awake. I'll tell you a story to keep awake here. Wake myself up. There once was a young man named Roland Pide who played the recorder when he wasn't baking bagels. One day he was walking through a park and playing his recorder to rest while from all his baking, when suddenly he spied a corpse lying on the ground beneath a swarm of flies. He put down his recorder, walked over to the corpse, shooed the flies away, and covered the dead man with stones. Returning to his oven later that day, he found that his oven blade had gone on by itself and already baked half the bagels he needed. From that day on, Roland Pide was the happiest baker alive. He'd bake until he was tired, and then he'd pull his recorder out of his pocket while his oven blade went on by itself. But Roland Pide lived in a town whose mayor did not admire his skill and was jealous of his fame. So the mayor devised a plan to rid the town of Roland. In the beginning, he said that Roland was a good worker, but lazy. Next, he said that Roland baked a whole lot, but badly. Then he accused Roland of being a sorcerer, and the people turned on him. Therefore, Roland Pide took his recorder and left his home behind. When Roland Pide came to a neighboring town, he went to all the business owners, but none of them would give him any work. Finally, he met an old busker and asked him for work to keep body and mind together. "Come along with me," said the old man, "and we will share alms." So Roland Pide and the old man started going around and singing, "Baker, why do you bear those silent things? Baker, how do you forget to stand where your feet are? Baker, no woman loves your wealth, although it is gold and good for health. Baker, you are too dirty for a lover to wish to preen. Your limbs have not support to old-fashioned sheep. Baker, line the wings and bash the boards. You don't need their applause for a finger is yours. You are a baker and are what you are, not by a miracle, but by the work of your arms. Baker, be who you are." Everybody gave alms the old man, but to Roland they said, "What does a young man like you out begging? Why don't you work for a living?" "Nobody will hire me," replied Roland Pide. "That's what you say. There is a king with so many hungry soldiers that he'll pay good wages for anyone. For anyone to play. There's a king who will pay wages to anyone who will feed his soldiers." So Roland Pide went to the king's kitchen and took the old man whose alms he'd been sharing. The oven had never been used by anyone. Roland mixed the dough, then he rolled it into rings, then he boiled them, then he tossed them, then he baked them until they were golden brown, then he tossed them into a crate to cool down. Whenever Roland wearied of baking, he'd play his recorder. But once he was weary of playing his recorder, he'd sing, "Baker, why do you bear those silent things? Baker, how did you forget to stand where your feet are? Baker, no woman loves your wealth, although it is golden and good for her health. Baker, you are too dirty for a lover to wish to clean. Your limbs have not supports an old-fashioned machine. Baker, line the rings and bash the boards. You don't need their applause for a thing that is yours. You are a baker and are what you are, not by a miracle, but by the work of your arms. Baker, be who you are." Hearing the singing, a princess looked out the window. She saw Roland Pide and fell in love with him. But she was a princess, and he a baker. The king would never consent to their marriage. So they decided to run away together. They fled at night in a boat. They were already on the high seas when Roland remembered the busker. He said to his beloved, "We must fetch the old man, since he shared his alms with me. We can't go off and leave him like that." At that very moment, the old man came up behind the boat, walking on the water as though it had been dry land. Reaching the boat, he said, "We agreed to divide everything we had, and I shared everything I owned. Now you have the king's daughter, must give half of her to me. At this he gave Roland Pie the knife to cut his bride in two. Roland Pie took the knife with a trembling hand. You are right, he said. You are perfectly right. He was on the point of cutting his bride in two, when suddenly the old man stopped him. Stop. I knew you were a just man. I am the dead man, mind you, whom you covered with stones. Go now, and may the two of you always be happy. At this, the old man walked away on the waves. The boat came to an island rich in all good things, with a princely palace awaiting the newlyweds. The end. That was called Roland Pie and the Oven Blade. I sort of messed up by I forgot a line there. I couldn't remember. I was struggling to find the phrase. Hey, welcome to the stream, everybody. Just working my third batch right now. Just getting my boards nice and cooled down and wet. I got me two batches of bagels in the oven, one batch in the pot. I do think I need a higher flame, otherwise they're not really browning on ones. That batch in the center of the oven should be brown by now. I don't know what's going on. That story is based on an Italian folktale. I've changed some of the details. However, if you were wondering, it's not entirely autobiographical. Unfortunately, I would show you what's going on inside the oven, but I've tried filming it, and my phone always gets overheated and shuts off. So I need to get like some kind of fireproof case, heat-proof case or something. I wonder if GoPro makes a thermal protected case or something for their GoPros. How did I how did I memorize it? It's sort of, I have sort of a routine in my day where I'll right before I go to bed, I try to memorize 2 or 3 lines from a poem, and then I just so I memorize it, and then I try to memorize the entire piece, either it's a story or a poem, and then I just keep on I do that every day. And I just sort of like throughout the day, I'll just try to like recite it and like try to recall the lines of poetry, and I don't know, it's a practice and time and practice. That's all it is. I actually don't have very good memory. I think like it's just a matter of having a desire to do it, I guess. I think anybody can do it. I don't think I'm using like any kind of extraordinary memory skills or anything. I think it's just basic memory. Yeah, so what I just do is I just find a poem or a story that I want to memorize. Every night I try to memorize 2 to 3 lines, and then the next day I try to recall those lines as often as I can, and then I just try to do that over and over again until I have the whole story or poem memorized, and then I start reciting it and practicing it as often as I can. It takes a while. Like a story that long probably takes about a month to memorize the whole thing, and then it probably takes 2 or 3 months to get it polished so that you're reciting it. That's for me, anyways. I don't know. Maybe there's people that can memorize things overnight and like a whole story and memorize it, recite it. That'd be virtuoso to me, virtuosic. I don't think I'm a virtuoso. I'm just persistent. I'm a determined individual. Comes down to determination, desire, and practice. It's pretty much everything in life that's worth it obtaining can be obtained through those 3 disciplines. My oven is at 383 degrees Fahrenheit. How's work going? Work is going well. Work is going swell. I'll recite a poem for you. This one's Pied Piper of Hamelin. by Robert Browning. It's my favorite poem of all time. Hamlin Towns in Brunswick, my famous Hanover city. The River Weser, deep and wide, washes its wall on the southern side. A pleasanter spot you've never spied. But when begins my ditty, almost 500 years ago, to see the townsfolk suffer so from vermin was a pity. Rats, they fought the dogs and killed the cats and picked the babies in the cradles and ate the cheeses from the vats and licked the soup from the cook's own ladles, split open the kegs of salted sprats, made nests in the men's Sunday hats, and even spoiled the women's chats by drowning out their squeaking, shrieking, and squeaking in 50 different sharps and flats. At last the people in a body to the town hall came flocking. "'Tis clear," cried they, "our mayor is a naughty. Now as for our corporation, shocking, to think we buy gowns lined with ermine, for dolts who can't or won't determine what's best to rid us of our vermin. You hope because you're old and obese to find in the furry sick robes ease. Rouse up, sirs, give your brains a racking, find the remedy we are lacking, or sure as fate will send you packing." At this, the mayor and corporation quaked with a mighty consternation. An hour they sat in council. At length the mayor broke silence. "For a gilder I'd my ermine gown sound. I wish I were a mile hence. It's easy to bid one rack one's brain. I'm sure my forehead aches again. I scratch it so, but all in vain. Oh, for a trap, trap, trap." Just he said this, what should hap? After chamber door, but a gentle tap. "Bless us," cried the mayor, "what's that?" With the corporation as he sat, looking little through wondrous fat, nor brighter were his eyes nor moister than a too long open oyster, save what immune his paunch to weakness, for a plate of turtle green and glutinous. Only a scraping of shoes on a mat, anything like the sound of a rat makes my heart go pit-a-pat. "Come in," cried the mayor, looking bigger, and in did come the strangest figure. His long clear coat from heel to head was half yellow and half red, and he himself was tall and thin, with sharp blue eyes, each like a pin, and light loose hair and swarthy skin, nor tuft of hair on cheek nor beard on chin, but lips or smile went out and in. There was no guessing his kith or kin, and nobody could enough admire this tall man and his quaint attire. Quoth one, "It's as my great-grandsire, starting up at the trump of doom's tone, had walked this way from his painted tombstone." He advanced towards the council table. "Please, your honor," said he, "I am able, by means of secret charm to draw, all the creatures living beneath the sun, that crawl or swim or fly or run, after me so as you never saw. And I chiefly use my charm on creatures that do people harm, mole and toad and newt and viper, and people call me the Pied Piper." And here they notice round his neck a scarf of red and yellow stripe, to match with his coat of self-same check. And that scarf's end hung a pipe. His fingers, they noticed, were ever straying, as if impatient to be playing upon this pipe, as low it dangled over his vestures old fangled. "Yes," said he, "Pied Piper as I am, in Tartaria friendly Cam, last June from his huge swarms of gnats, I eased in the age of the Nizam of a monstrous brood of vampire bats. And as for what your brain bewilders, if I rid your town of rats, will you give me 1,000 guilders?" 50,000 was the exclamation of astonished mayor and corporation. Into the street the piper stepped, smiling first a little smile, as if he knew what magic slept in his quiet pipe the while. Like a musical adept to blow his pipe, his lips he wrinkled, and green and blue his sharp eyes twinkled, like a candle flame where salt is sprinkled. And ere 3 shrill notes of pipe uttered, he heard as if an army muttered, and the muttering grew to a grumbling, and the grumbling grew to a mighty rumbling, and out of the houses came the rats tumbling. Great rats, small rats, briny rats, brown rats, black rats, gray rats, tawny rats, grave old plotters, gay young friskers, fathers, mothers, uncles, cousins, popping tails and prickling whiskers, families by tens and dozens, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, followed the Pied Piper for their lives, from street to street, advancing, and from street to street, into the street, Piper stepped, smiling first a little smile, as if he knew what magic slept in his quiet pipe a while. Like a musical adept to blow his pipe, his lips wrinkled, and green and blue his sharp eyes twinkled, like a candle flame where salt is sprinkled. and ere 3 shrill notes of pipe uttered, he heard as if an army muttered. The muttering grew to a grumbling, the grumbling grew to a mighty rumbling, and out of the house came the rats tumbling. Great rats, small rats, lean rats, brawny rats, brown rats, black rats, gray rats, tawny rats, grave old plotters, gay young friskers, fathers, mothers, uncles, cousins, cocking tails and breaking whiskers, families by tens and dozens, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, followed the pipe piping for their lives. From street to street he piped advancing, and step for step they followed dancing, until they came to the river Weser, where it all plunged and perished, save one who stout as Julius Caesar, swam across and went to carry, as he the manuscript he cherished, to Ratland home his commentary, which was, at first shrill notes of the pipe, I heard a sound as a scraping tripe, and putting apples wondrous ripe into the cider presses gripe, and a moving away of pickle cupboards, and leaving a jar of concert cupboards, and drawing the corks of train oil flasks, and breaking into butter casks, and it seemed as if a voice, sweeter far than by harper by Solary's breathe, called out, "Oh rats, rejoice, the world has grown to a vast dry saltery. So munch on, crunch on, take your nunch on, breakfast, supper, dinner, lunch on, and just a bulky sugar punch on, already stayed like a great sun shone, gracious scarce an inch before me, just as me thought it said come bore me, I found the Weser rolling over me." You should have heard the Hamlin people ring the bells, they rock the steeple. "Go," cried the mayor, "and get long poles, poke out the nests and block up the holes, consult with carpenters and builders, and leave in our town not even a trace of rats." When suddenly up the face of the paper perked in the marketplace, the first, if you please, my 1,000 guilders. 1,000 guilders? The mayor looked blue, so did the corporation too, for council dinners made rare havoc with Claret, Moselle, Vin de Grave, Hawk, and half the money would replenish their cellars big as butt of Rhenish, to pay this sum to a wondering fellow, with gypsy coat of red and yellow. Besides, quoth the mayor with a knowing wink, our business was done at the river's brink. We saw with their eyes the vermin sink. What's dead can't come to life, I think. So, friend, we're not folks to shrink from our duty of giving you something to drink, and a matter of money to put in your poke. But as for the guilders, what we spoke of them, as you all know, wasn't joke. Besides, the losses have made us thrifty. 1,000 guilders, come take 50. The piper's face fell and he cried, "No trifling, I can't wait inside. I promised a visit by dinner time, Baghdad, except the crime of his cook's potage. All he's rich in, for having left in the caliph's kitchen, of a nest of scorpions no survivor. With him I prove no bargain driver, with you don't think I'll bait a stiver, and folks who put me in a passion, may find me pipe after another fashion." "How," cried the mayor, "do you think I brook being worse treated than a cook, insulted by or ribald, with idle pipe and vesture piebald? Threaten us, fellow, do your worst, blow your pipe there till you burst." Once more he stepped into the street, and to his lips again laid his long pipe of smooth straight cane, and ere he blew 3 notes, such sweet soft notes as that musician's cunning never gave the enraptured air. There was a rustling that seemed like a bustling of merry crowds justling, a pitching and hustling. Small feet were pattering, wooden shoes clattering, little hands clapping, and little tongues chattering, and like foals in a farmyard and barley is scattering, out came the children running, all the little boys and girls, with rosy cheeks and flaxen curls and sparkling eyes and teeth like pearls, tripping and skipping ran merrily after. The wonderful music was shouting and laughter. The mayor was dumb and the council stood, as if they're changed in the blocks of wood, unable to move a step or cry, to the children merrily skipping by, could only follow with an eye that joyous crowd at the piper's back, and how the mayor was on the rack, and the wretched council's bosoms beat, as the piper turned from the high street, where the Weser rolled its waters, right in the way of their sons and daughters. How he returned from south to west, and Popelberg Hill his steps addressed, and after him the children pressed, great was the joy in every breast. He never crossed the mighty top, he forced to let the piping drop, we shall see our children stop. When lo, they reached the mountainside, a wondrous portal opened wide, as if a cavern was suddenly hollowed. The piper advanced and the children followed. When all were in the very last, the door in the mountainside shut fast. Did I say, oh, though one was lame, you could not dance all the way. In and after years, if you ask me, the last Hamlin, God, I lost my face. I lost my place. my God. Let's, where should I start from? Alas, alas for Hamlin, there came an immediate worker's tape, a text which says that heaven's gate opes the rich at as easy rate as the needle's eye takes a camel. The mayor sent east, west, north, and south, offered the piper by word of mouth, wherever it was men's lot to find him, silver and gold to his heart's content, if only he'd return the way he went, and bring the children behind him. But when they saw 'twas lost endeavor, the piper and dances were gone forever, they made a decree the lawyers never to think their records dated duly, if after the day of the month and year, these words do not as well appear. And so long after what happened here, on the 22nd of July, 1376, and the better memory fixed the place of the children's last retreat, they call it the Pied Piper Street, where anyone playing piper tabor was sure for his future lose his labor, nor suffered they hostlers in tavern, shocked with words the streets are solemn, and opposite the place of the cavern, they heard the story on a column, on great church windows painted, the saints to make the world acquainted, how their children were stolen away, and there it stands this very day. And I must not omit to say, in Transylvania there is a tribe of only people who ascribe the way and dress of which their neighbors lay some stress, to their fathers and mothers having risen out of some subterranean prison into which they were japanned a long time ago in a mighty band, out of Hamlin towns in Brunswick land. But how or why, they don't understand. So, Lily, let me and you be vipers of scores out with all men, especially pipers. And if they should pipe us free from rats of mice, if we promise them aught, let us keep our promise. Oh, I messed up in the middle there. I forgot the words. I probably should have slowed it down a bit. I sort of, when I go too fast, it sort of becomes a train wreck. All the words sort of just like pile up in a big heap of carnage. Once again he stepped into the street, to his lips again laid his long pipe with smooth straight cane, and ere he blew 3 notes, such sweet soft notes as yet musicians cunning never gave the enraptured air. There was a rustling that seemed like a bustling of merry crowds justling and pitching and hustling. Small feet were pattering, wooden shoes clattering, little hands clapping, and little tongues chattering, like foals in the farm of barley scattering. Out came the children running, all the little boys and girls, with rosy cheeks and flaxen curls, and sparkling eyes and teeth like pearls, tripping and skipping around merrily after. The wonderful music was shouting and laughter. The mayor was dumb when the council stood, as if there changed the blocks of wood, unable to move a step or cry, to the children merrily skipping by, could only follow with an eye the joyous crowd at the piper's back, and how the mayor was on the rack, and the wretched council's bosom beat, as the piper turned from the high street, to where the Weser rolled its waters, right in the way of their sons and daughters. However, he moved them. Was it ready? There once was a rich man who had just one son. The boy was dearly loved by his father. As everybody knows, the greatest scourge on earth for a rich man is work. Therefore, when his son turned 14, the father decided to send him to school to learn the science of laziness. On the same street as the rich man had lived a famous and highly respected professor who had never done a lick of work in his life he could get out of doing. The rich man called on him and found him stretched out in the garden under a fig tree, with a cushion under his head, a cushion under his back, and a cushion under his buttocks. Before talking to him, I must first see how he does, said the rich man to himself, and he hid behind a hedge to observe the man. The professor lay as still as a corpse with his eyes closed. The only time he stirred was moved was whenever he heard the thud of a ripe fig falling on the ground near where he lay. He'd reach slowly out, bring the fruit to his mouth, and swallow it. Then he wouldn't stir again until another fig fell. This is just the professor my son needs, decided the rich man. And he came out from his hiding place, introduced himself, and asked the professor to teach his son the science of laziness. Old man, answered the professor just above a whisper, don't talk so much. It tires me to listen to you. If you want to bring your son up as you and I are, just send him to me. So the rich man went home, took his son by the hand, thrust a feathered pillow under his arm, and led him to the garden. I urge you, he told him, to do everything you see this professor of idleness do. The boy, who already had an inclination for that particular science, also stretched out under the fig tree. Observing his teacher, he saw him reach for every fig that fell and bring it to his mouth. Why should I work myself to death reaching for figs, he thought. And he lay there with his mouth wide open. Soon a fig fell into his mouth, and he let it go down slowly. Then he reopened his mouth. Another fig fell. This time it missed. He lay there perfectly still and murmured, why so wide of the mark? Fig fall into my mouth. Seeing how wise his pupil already was, the professor said, go on now. You have nothing to learn from me. You can even teach me something. So the boy went home to his father, who thanked heaven for having given him such a smart son. The heart asks pleasure first, and then excuse from pain, and then those little anodynes that deaden suffering, and then to go to sleep, and then if it should be the will of its inquisitor, liberty to die. wrap gun. Oh, if only I could rap. Okay, I'd be like Eminem. Rap Diddy, Peacock, Jay Hizzle, K West. Who's watching me? Say hello.